Hello and welcome back to the Sports Sermon. I'm Dylan Saggy.
I'm Jason Gandhi.
And I'm Dan Majors.
And today we are back to talk about the NBA Summer League. A lot of great performances and a lot of great teams. Just exciting to see some of the new young guys facing off against each other in the Summer League. So today we're going to be covering the Orlando and the Utah Summer League, which just finished up today. So first, let's start off with the worst. The number 8 finish in the Orlando Summer League, the Miami Heat, finished with an 0-5 record. Jason, what did you see there?
Well, even though the 0-5 record, I think we all kind of know Summer League is not about wins and losses. It's about the development and just getting these young guys as much experience as possible. And with that, I think we all know the one guy that really stuck out for the Miami Heat, and Bam Adebayo. His first game and his last game weren't too strong, but everything else in between, he balled out and really dominated. He averaged 17.5 and 8.3, 17.5 points and 8.3 rebounds over the course of these 5 games, and really he just looked like he was a dominating force on all sides of the ball. Defensively, he was getting blocks, and really just something to be really excited about if I'm the Heat. But away from Adebayo, Okara White still doing what he was doing last year, putting up points, averaging 19. And then they just got little contributions here and there from different guys, depending on who was feeling it. But yeah, the Heat, even though they didn't get wins and losses, I think they were still happy with Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, you mentioned Adebayo, obviously. He put up some great games, but one guy you should look at is Zach August. I know you think that's a little biased, but in only averaging 17 minutes per game, he put up 6.3 rebounds and 7.3 points with 2 steals. So I thought it was a great performance from him in the Orlando Summer League.
Yeah, the only issue with August was his fouls. I mean, almost every game, he was 5, 6, 7, 8 fouls. But yeah, I mean, he played for the Lakers a year before in the Summer League, and he was a great energy guy in someone, but there just wasn't a roster sport for him. I hope he makes it on the team somewhere.
Yeah, Jason mentioned Bam Adebayo a lot. Obviously, someone that you want to watch for the Heat, who they spent their lottery pick on and maybe reached for a little bit. He showed some flashes, but also had a couple of bad games. I think he had 29 points against the Pacers, but then 1 for 10 today in the 8th place or the 7th place game. Okara White, like Jason mentioned, too, 19 points and 8 rebounds a game. And London Parentes, an undrafted rookie for the Heat, put up 11 points and 5 assists. So a few good performances from the Heat, but not enough to give them any wins in the Summer League. Let's move on to the 7th team now, and the New York Knicks finished 1-4 in the Summer League. Jason, what do you got?
Yeah, so they're probably my least favorite team of the 8 in the Summer League because, first off, you draft Frank Ntilikina, and one of the first practices, he gets hurt. So you don't get to see him. Now you're relying on guys like Chasson Randle and Damian Dotson, Marshall Plumlee, Nigel Hayes, people like that to really play, and I just could never really get excited. Like, yeah, Randle averaged 16 points a game, but he also had 4 turnovers, and he has NBA experience. Yeah, Damian Dotson had 13, but he also averaged close to 2 turnovers a game. Like, watching the Knicks play was almost ugly at times. The one guy that was fun to watch that was kind of hit or miss was Luke Cornett. I like watching him play, and he seemed to turn on a little bit for the Knicks. But besides that, it was a pretty bad Summer League for the Knicks, even though they did get a win.
Yeah, it was disappointing for the Knicks. Ntilikina not playing, and then really nobody else to look forward to. But one guy that stood out for me was Plumlee, with averaging 8 points and 6 rebounds a game.
Yeah, obviously, when you draft a guy at number 8 in Frank Ntilikina, and he's an international guy, you don't know how he's going to come in and play. Someone that you want to get some experience in playing in Summer League didn't get to do that. But Chasson Randle, like Jason said, NBA experience, did have 16 points a game. Damian Dotson, their second-round pick, played pretty solid, 13 points and 5 rebounds a game. But other than that, not many bright spots for the Knicks in the Summer League. Let's move on to the 6th place finishers and the Orlando Magic, who had a 2-3 record in the Summer League. Jason, what do you have?
Yeah, so their main player was like, I forget how to say his first name, but it's like Marcos Georges Hunt. he was consistent throughout the entire Orlando Summer League. He seemed to be their leading scorer throughout. And then my favorite player on the Magic, Kalen Lucas. I've loved him since he was in college at Michigan State. He looked pretty dominant out there, averaging 13 points a game. But really, I mean, when the Magic played together in those 2 wins, you had to guard everyone on the floor. They seemed to really click between Derek Walton Jr., Jonathan Isaac, Kalen Lucas, and all these guys. They really seemed to have a flow, and so they were fun to watch. And the only thing with them, looking forward, is Isaac's probably the only guy on this team, and Uwundu, who they just drafted, that's really going to be a contributor for the Magic team. But in general, I mean, I liked watching them play, and it was a fun week for these guys, I think, because guys like Kalen Lucas, Derek Walton Jr., Matt Costello got to just run the floor a little bit and have a good time.
Yeah, one guy that stood out to me was Karnowski, putting up 17 points and 7 rebounds a game. And another guy, obviously, Jonathan Isaac, with 10 points and 8 rebounds. Didn't start off well in his first game, but showed some development later.
Yeah, one guy, when watching the Pacers Magic game, Derek Walton Jr., when he was on the floor, the Pacers just could not stop him in that game. So I think he really stood out for the Magic, somebody that could maybe make the roster as an undrafted rookie. Shemit Karnowski, like Dan mentioned, only played a couple games, but was just bigger than everybody out there, and I think he looked pretty solid. Jason mentioned Kalen Lucas, Marcus Georges-Hunt, 2 guys that I wasn't really expecting to really show out in the Summer League, and did overall pretty solid for the Magic, even though they didn't have a above 500 record.
Mm-hmm.
But let's move into the 5th place team now. Oklahoma City Thunder also had a 2-3 record in the Summer League. Jason, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, the Thunder are kind of like the Knicks, only they had better players, I guess, but it's not like they're developing anybody really to, go lead their team. I mean, Dakari Johnson balled out like last year. They had Josh Huestis, who was playing well, Samaj Christian, Marcus Page. They had a lot of guys that would play well, but I'm not sure any of these guys are really contending for lots of minutes on the roster next year, especially with Paul George coming over. Terrence Ferguson did not play their first-round pick this year, and so they didn't get to see him play yet. But of this league, I thought Dakari Johnson played out of his mind, 18-6, and at points looked like the best player on the floor no matter who they were playing. And Josh Huestis, who averaged 15, 6, and 1. So I don't know, those were 2 guys that really stuck out for me, but overall the Thunder aren't really building around anybody on this team.
Yeah, I also liked Hunter out there. He put up 16 and 7. I feel like he had a great week this week.
Yeah, one guy that I think probably could have played better, though, is Samaj Christian, who actually at times had to play a lot of minutes as the backup to Russell Westbrook last season and averaged 4.5 turnovers a game in Summer League. Somebody who I expected to probably do better, and other than that, not a lot to watch for the Thunder in the Summer League, as Sabonis traded away, who was going to play on their team, and Terrence Ferguson not playing. Let's move into the 4th place team in the Orlando Summer League now. Charlotte Hornets finished with a 3-2 record. Jason, what do you have?
So they were led by Trevion Graham again, just like last year, and Johnny O'Bryant. Those 2 were balling out this year like we expected. But someone that really surprised people and has been probably the biggest sleeper it's been rumored about right now, and Dwayne Bacon. His game, especially today, finishing with 29 points, and he got a 3-year deal, 2 of the years guaranteed. Dwayne Bacon, absolutely a monster today. He finished averaging 15 points a game. And then, like I said, Trevion Graham and Johnny O'Bryant, we expected them to play well. They did, both averaging over 16 a game. And then Brianto Weber, one of those guys I like, who averaged 12. So I liked watching the Hornets. They had a lot of good young pieces. And Monk didn't play, which was unfortunate because of his ankle injury. But all in all, the Hornets, I liked what they were building.
Yeah, you mentioned Trevion Graham. I thought he had a great week with averaging 18 points and 8 rebounds, along with 3 assists. He was more well-rounded than a lot of other guys.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Dwayne Bacon a little bit. Looking like Dwayne Wade out there in that game today. If you guys saw a couple weeks ago when the Hornets GM introduced Dwayne Bacon at the press conference, he called him Dwayne Wade, showing a little bit out there like Dwayne Wade with that 29-point performance in Summer League. I'm sure the Hornets would be happy if they got Dwayne Wade out of him. Obviously, you want Monk to play, but couldn't because of that hurt ankle. Let's move into the number 3 team now, Detroit Pistons, who finished with a 3-2 record, lost in a championship game in overtime to the Mavericks. Jason, what do you have?
So this is the team that finally has 1, 2, 3 guys who are actually going to get some minutes in the season. Luke Kennard, I thought, had a fantastic week. I thought start to finish played consistent, solid basketball, and then Henry Ellenson, a late early mid first round last year for the Pistons. I thought he played well, going 17-7. But yeah, I think my favorite player on this team was Luke Kennard. I loved his consistency and loved his leadership for being a rookie.
Yeah, I also love Kennard. I expected it from him coming out of the draft. You just knew what you were getting in him, averaging 17 points this past week.
Yeah, a huge performance in the championship game for Kennard, although it wasn't enough to beat the Mavericks. Ellenson also showed out, so the Pistons with a couple pieces to build around in the Summer League team that looked pretty solid. Let's move into the number 2 squad, the Pacers, who won the 3rd place game, but finished with a second-best record at 4-1, only dropping the one game to the best team in the league, the Mavericks. So, Jason, what did you see in them?
So, I liked Joe Young's leadership ability. I thought he played well when he had that 7 assist game, and just in general, I thought he really had command of the floor. I like Jarnell Stokes, who isn't in foul trouble. That was just the only thing is he got in foul trouble, but you couldn't foul out in this. And then Travis Leslie balled out. I thought at times he took over the game. Only thing that kind of underwhelmed me, I guess, was TJ Leaf. He just seemed kind of non-existent at times, and I was looking for him to step up and try to be part of the offense. And I felt like he kind of got shadowed, got thrown to the shadows behind these 3. And I don't know, I feel like TJ Leaf is the highest recognizable name, and he needs to be, and he didn't really do anything to really make his case known, I guess, in the Summer League.
Yeah, I also liked Joe Young in this one, averaging 13 points and 6 assists. He had the 3rd most assists in the Summer League this past week.
Yeah, I like what Jason said about Joe Young's leadership out on the court. When the Pacers played the Heat made a huge comeback after the Pacers were up a ton. And then when Joe Young came back in, he was actually sitting on the bench during the big run from the Heat. He came back in, and the Pacers were able to come back in that game. So I like that from Young. Travis Leslie and Jarnell Stokes, 2 guys that definitely played solid. Jarnell Stokes, a former D-League MVP, and they both put up 13.2 points a game. TJ Leaf, like Jason said, kind of inconsistent. Showed up at times, and when he did, he was great, but other times just kind of fell into the shadows. Let's move into the number 1 team, the champions of the Orlando Summer League, the Dallas Mavericks. Jason, what did you see?
So, I was most impressed by Brandon Paul. I felt like every game, day in and day out, he had a big game. Whether it didn't have to be on the stat sheet, just had to be he was always involved in the offense. Him and Dwight Bucks just took over this team and really carried them to the championship. And then one guy that I just was shocked about was today, Jonathan Motley putting up 18-10 in the championship, who we haven't really seen much of. I mean, he only averaged 7 and 5 throughout this Summer League. But Jonathan Motley just coming out of nowhere today and putting up 18 and 10. Dan, I know it's your team, but I like the Mavericks Summer League squad.
Yeah, I wasn't as much into him this year, but with Dennis Smith not playing. But I like Dwight Buycks with 17 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. That's very well-rounded. That's probably the most well-rounded in the whole Summer League.
Yeah, Jason said Brandon Paul a lot. Just 16.5 points a game. He was fantastic. Just contributors everywhere, and a team that didn't look like they had a lot of talent just based on the roster and like where these guys were drafted and everything. But they put it all together and put out some great team performances in order to win the Summer League championship. But let's move into the Utah Summer League now. 3 games played by the Spurs, Sixers, Celtics, and Jazz each. First, let's talk about the Spurs, who finished 1-2. Jason, what do you have?
So the Spurs, I don't think any of us expected to wow them. They play a pretty simple brand of basketball, but it's pretty effective. And I mean, the one guy that really carried the team was Bryn Forbes. He just shot the lights out, especially in day 2 against the Celtics. He was just clicking on all cylinders, having I think like 29 points, and really the Spurs didn't play well as a team, I didn't think, but have individual pieces that looked good.
Yeah, I also love Bryn Forbes, averaging 21 points a game, most points in the summer league. And then I also liked Corey Jefferson, averaging 7 rebounds a game.
Yeah, Spurs, solid squad. They usually put together a solid summer team, and although this Utah summer league isn't the squad that they're bringing into the Las Vegas summer league, it is pretty solid. They played decently well together. Bryn Forbes having to carry the squad a little bit at times, but overall, not too shabby from the Spurs. Let's move on to the number 3 team, the Sixers, though. Jason, what do you have?
Yeah, this is where it really gets interesting because you got so many young pieces that we expect to see so many minutes this year, including, of course, Markelle Fultz. But you've also got Timothy Cabarrot, Jonah Bolden, who was drafted, Poitras, who looked and got some minutes, and you got Furkan Korkmaz over from after he signed. Like, lots of pieces. And I thought they, at times, looked like a unit, but you could tell they hadn't got much playing time together. Markelle Fultz averaged 20. He shot a 47% field goal percentage, so I don't think he wowed anybody. Like, it wasn't like I was like, oh, this guy's definitely the stuff. But he also didn't, like, underwhelm. So I thought he had a good 3 games, and only, like, can go up from there. But I liked the game, especially from Jonah Bolden. Like, his stats aren't great. Like, he averaged 10. He averaged 10 and shot 38% with like 6 rebounds. I just thought when he was playing, he seemed to always make a difference on the floor. Something that really just intrigued me as a fan.
Yeah, I like Fultz a lot with averaging 20 points a game. That is second behind Forbes, along with 7 rebounds from Isaiah Miles.
Yeah, Fultz obviously having a couple of big highlight plays, especially in that Boston game when he came and had the big swat off the backboard. 20 points a game, definitely not too shabby in your first 2 summer league games. Just a lot of young pieces for the Sixers. I don't think they gelled that well together, but they have a lot more games to play still in the summer league. Only a small sample for the Sixers in the Utah Summer League.
Yeah, I think Markelle and all of them are going to develop better. It's just a matter of you want to get him out there as much as possible, and I don't think you're really worrying about chemistry yet because you're not going to be playing with half these guys. But overall, I thought the Sixers looked good, and I think Markelle's going to be a good little player in this league.
All right, let's move into the Celtics now, who finished 1-2. Jason, what do you have?
So I think, I don't know, like I know they had Jaylen Brown, but I think Jason Tatum was the talk of that team. He balled out, averaging 18.7 points a game. And really, like, I don't even care about the stats. He just took control of the Boston Celtics. Almost averaged double-double with 9.7 rebounds. I just love watching Jason Tatum play. He's coming in. I said that he was the most NBA-ready prospect. I thought he showed it then. He had, at times, outplayed Jaylen Brown, who's the number 3 pick last year. I thought between Brown and Tatum, Celtics have a bright future. They both kind of alternated on who would play well when. It just seemed to fit nicely. I mean, against the Sixers, Jason Tatum hit that game-winning shot to go along with 21 points and 7 rebounds. And, of course, Jaylen Brown finished with 29 and 13. So the Celtics, between those two, are going to get the most minutes out of the people on that team. Looked and seemed to play well together. And they have other pieces, but those are the two that were really the talk of the show the whole night.
Yeah, Tatum looked great, looked the most NBA ready, of course, like you said. Surprised me a little bit, but looked great. And Jaylen Brown, also, as you mentioned, he played great, averaging 10 rebounds a game. That was the only person with 10 rebounds, or double-digit rebounds in the whole summer league.
Yeah, Tatum and Brown were obviously great for the Celtics, but outside of that, not really much talent on the roster. Abdel Nader finished with 14.7 points a game, but no one else outside of those three, and Brown, Tatum, and Nadir finished with more than 6 points a game. So this Celtics roster not really filled with a lot of talent, but Brown and Tatum are carrying the squad and are just doing great so far for the Celtics. Obviously, just want to try and get them out there and get ready to play in the NBA this season. So let's move on to the number one team, the Jazz, who beat all three of the squads that we just talked about. Jazz finished with a 3-0 record. Jason, what did you see in them?
I thought it was kind of a game. It was a battle for the MVP, in my opinion between two guys, Dante Exum and Donovan Mitchell. I would give it to Donovan Mitchell purely because if you average 3.3 steals a game, I think you deserve it. I thought he looked like a monster defensively and chipped in 15 points a game to go along with two rebounds, 3 assists. I just thought he looked comfortable playing against NBA players. He didn't seem out of sorts like you usually see in Summer League. And then Dante Exum, somebody that's been in the league a few years, he seemed pretty cool and collected, getting a lot of minutes and really being efficient with them, averaging 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. I think the Jazz have got to be excited with what they're seeing from Exum, at least as a backup point guard role to Rubio.
Yeah, I really liked Exum. Averaging 20 points, like you said. That's second behind Forbes, along with Markelle. And then he also had 6.3 assists, which led the league in assists.
Yeah, Mitchell and Exum, obviously the stars of the show for the Jazz. The guard play was fantastic. Those two combining for 35 points a game. Mitchell a monster defensively, like Jason said, with those 3.3 steals. Exum just did it all, 20 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Those two just showed out for the Jazz, and it showed up in the record as they finished 3-0.
Yeah, so congratulations to the Mavericks and the Jazz, as the Jazz went on their home summer league, and the Mavericks really. So I think the Mavericks surprised people, at least in my opinion. I wasn't going in thinking, oh, the Mavericks really got a shot. I thought the Magic would do it. The Pacers had a shot, but yeah, I thought the Mavericks were definitely a surprising team, especially without Dennis Smith Jr. But Las Vegas Summer League starts tomorrow at 6 o'clock. My Lakers finally get on the court. We're going to see Lonzo take on Dylan's Clippers. So, we'll have at least some tweets going on back and forth at each other, I'd assume, as well as just some good Summer League updates along throughout as it goes on. It ends the 17th, so we'll have a Las Vegas Summer League episode once that ends. We've got free agency, probably 1 or 2 more episodes coming up, and then really just hit us up with those comments as to what you guys want to see next. I know we've gotten a few comments on net stuff, so we'll get that going. But really just keep us in the comments of what you want to see.
Yeah, just let us know. We might come back to that NFL season preview series, especially as we inch closer to the football season. We'll have some fantasy football stuff coming out probably late July, early August too. So can't wait for that, and make sure if you want to see all that, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this Summer League video, hit the like button, and if you want to see every time we post a new article or a new video, follow us on Twitter. So thank you for listening, and we will see you guys tomorrow.